Hey, what's going on, guys? Ben Brewster here at triathletics.com, and today I want to discuss a common warm-up flaw that I see that if you adjust this, it's often a very quick tweak to increase your velo a couple ticks, or to at least be more consistent towards the upper end of your velocity range. So this video is talking about how to ramp up your catch play and or your long toss to be more effective. First thing is understanding how to gradually ramp up your intensity versus starting high effort from the very first throw. Now, I was this guy all through high school, all through kind of freshman year of college until I learned this lesson. I thought intensity, or intent as it was called at the time, is the only thing that really mattered. I thought that if I just tried to throw every throw as hard as I could, that was going to magically clean up all of my patterning issues, and I was going to have 95-mile-an-hour mechanics. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't quite work nearly that smoothly through this concept of self-organization. Your body will adapt and organize itself to a point as far as improving your mechanics for velocity, but you kind of miss the boat entirely if every single throw from the very start is purely an intensity-based focus. So gradually ramping up through your catch play, through your long toss, first and foremost, before we get any deeper into this topic, is an extremely important component of maintaining a patterning focus and making sure that you actually squeeze every last drop out of your lower half and your pelvis and your hips before you actually bring the arm into the throw. I totally missed the boat on that myself through college. I was trying to figure out, like, why are my throws 85 miles an hour in catch play, and then I go out in the game and I'm also 85 miles an hour. Whereas these other guys, they're ramping up gradually. Maybe they only throw 80, 82 in their flat grounds, nice and easy, and then they're throwing 92, 93 in the game. And it's because they were actually transferring this energy efficiently from the ground through their hips, through their torso, and into the arm. And so what I needed to do was actually take a step back from that intensity only approach, learn to gradually ramp up, learn to actually relax into positions, relax my arm and delay my arm from coming into the throw, and actually practice that on a daily basis. And so as you ramp up, as you warm up into your catch play, into your long toss, that is absolutely 100% the best place to practice delaying, bringing your arm into the throw. I want to just pose the question to you: would you rather have lower half driven mechanics or upper half driven mechanics? Right, it's not really a terminology that most people use, but if you wanted to be the guy who threw all arm, or would you rather be the guy who a coach said, well, that guy uses his legs really, really well in his delivery, versus the guy who a coach says, hey, that's the guy who throws all arm? Well, intuitively, we all understand the guy who uses lower half really efficiently, his arm is also going to be there by the time that energy is transferred its way up the chain. But the guy who throws all arm, he's bypassing that valuable energy, working its way from the ground through his lower half into the arm. And so it's a matter of, if we're trying to target the maximum efficiency from our toes through our fingertips, we want to be the guy who has a lower half driven set of mechanics, or who at the very least understands how to effectively delay bringing the upper half into the throw too soon. This comes down to understanding the kinetic chain, and really what the kinetic chain is our ability to transfer that energy starting from the ground. That's important, starting from the ground, and how that transfers its way up through our feet, tibia, femur, through our hips, through our pelvis, through our torso, and ultimately at the end of the kinetic chain, through the scapula, the humerus, the elbow, through the forearm, through the wrist, through fingertips. So again, that's important. The most efficient use of the kinetic chain, whether it's throwing a football, whether it's throwing a baseball, whether it's throwing a punch, it starts from the ground, and it starts from getting everything you possibly can out of the lower half before you bring the upper half into the throw. You can also think about it this way: it's a bottom-up approach versus a top-down approach to your throwing mechanics. But the way I like to think of it, and again, this is oversimplification, but this is how I'll describe it to my athletes when I see that in their catch play, their very first throw is just an upper half driven throw. It's just a short step, and it's all arm. There's no conscious attempt to actually get the lower half into the throw. They just immediately pick up a ball and just start stepping and ripping balls with their upper half only. I'll explain it this way. Okay, you have the lower half dial, right? You have an intensity dial, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, lower half. You can think of that percentage-wise. You also have the upper half dial, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100% intensity from the upper half dial. How do you ramp up your intensity? right? I just said we want to gradually ramp up our intensity, but how exactly do you do that now knowing that, okay, we can divide this grossly into lower half intensity, upper half intensity? Now, it's really three categories of guys that fall under here. So the first is some guys will take that upper half dial and they'll ramp that upper half dial up first, and then they ramp the lower half accordingly. So they'll ramp 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% upper half, and the lower half is still over here at 50, 60%. And so the upper half intensity is outpacing the lower half, right? They basically just go play catch, all arm, and they hop on the mound for their bullpen, and they hope that their full speed, efficient lower half mechanics will be there. The other end is the guy who ramps lower half first. So his lower half dial goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and at some point in there, they begin to ramp the arm into the throw as well. And so the lower half mechanics are, again, the focus, and that's what guides their catch play, their warm up every single day before they bring the arm into the throw. And then there's a group in the middle where they kind of ramp the lower half and the upper half in unison, and as they ramp up the intensity from the lower half, they also ramp in the arm as well. Now, those second two options are obviously the preferred options. If we bring the arm into the throw too soon and we ramp up that upper half dial too early, then we essentially bypass all the potential sequencing and patterning benefits that we could have been getting from letting the lower half actually drive the throw. Kind of to demonstrate a little bit what exactly I'm talking about, I've gone through my plyo care drills. Again, even as I ramp up my plyo care drills, the focus is on what the lower half is doing and getting the energy from the lower half and from the hinge and from the drift, and getting that energy to spiral its way up into my arm and just letting the arm float and flick through and act as a relaxed whip. That's still the focus in my plyo care drills as well. But now I've got my partner, I'm out on the field, I'm 45, 60 feet away from my partner. What does it look like? So what I like to do personally is, how far can I get out if I'm long tossing, or how long can I delay bringing the arm into the throw in this catch play session? So let's say we're long tossing. The goal might be, let's say I'm doing just a step and throw, or let's say maybe I'm doing like a step back drill. If it's a step and throw, the goal is like, how little effort can I actually use from my arm, and how efficiently can I use the lower half? So it might look something like this. Step, let the arm just flick through. Step, let the arm just flick through. And so you begin to ramp from the lower half, maybe 50, 60, 70, 80%. The arm is still at 30%. The arm is still just floating through, nice and easy. How far can I get out just throwing that way? Can I get to 70 yards, 75 yards, 80 yards, 85 yards? And you'll be surprised as you start to throw that way, how your patterns will start to change. They're still going to be your patterns. The sequencing and the energy transfer through them is just going to feel a lot smoother and a lot crisper. You're going to feel like your arm doesn't come into the throw as soon. You're going to feel like you're able to relax your arm better. And you're going to feel like when you actually hop on the mound following that, you can sustain those patterns. You can actually feel yourself getting into your lower half, versus if my first throw to my partner was just one of these, just a half step, throw, all arm, right? You're not actually getting anything out of your lower half. So what are you doing? You're actually making your patterns less efficient, and you're teaching yourself to muscle up. Again, that's just a general example of what I'm talking about. How far out can you get if you're long tossing for distance that day before you bring the arm into the throw? We know that once you bring the arm into the throw, you've got another 30, 40 yards on top of that distance. But can we delay bringing the arm into the throw until we've squeezed everything out of that tube of toothpaste, from the toes, through the pelvis, through the trunk? So that's the approach. It's super simple, and it seems super obvious once you've heard it, but a lot of guys, even at the professional level, don't ramp up their catch play that way. And obviously I want to give credit to a guy who's been talking about this forever, one of my friends, Alan Jaeger, who I think in his words, he likes to talk about it as letting the arm breathe, just being free and easy, and working out to your distance for the day, nice and easy. And I think this is why it works. This is why the Jaeger style long toss works and why it's gained such popularity. But it doesn't have to just apply to max distance long toss. If you're working out to 60, 120 feet for the day, if you're a guy who doesn't do max effort long toss, you just keep a ball on a line. It's the same process of gradually ramping up intensity from the lower half, bringing the arm into the throw later, and how far can I get out, or what intensity or what velocity can I get to, or how easy can I put this ball on a line without feeling like I'm actively bringing the arm into the throw. Once I've ramped to that, whatever that threshold is, maybe that's 80 miles an hour, maybe that's 120 feet on a soft line. Okay, great. That final 20%, 30% intensity, That's going to come from the arm dial. The arm is going to be there when you actually need it. And finally, another kind of example of this, I remember studying Tim Lincecum, studying some of his cues, some of his interviews with his dad, and how they kind of designed his mechanics. One of his concepts he called the dangle, for people who might remember that. And the dangle was the exact same concept here. It's like, can we allow the arm to be as along for the ride as possible? It's not that the arm doesn't help throw the ball, it does. It's just you want to be able to delay the arm throwing the ball piece of the delivery until you've squeezed everything out of that drift, that linear move, that rotation, and you've maximized that energy transfer from the toes through the trunk. Now the arm is what actually closes the gap. Once you've created that energy transfer, the arm will be there. But arm along for the ride is a fantastic cue. The dangle is a fantastic concept in terms of how his dad explained it. And so this stuff has been around. I'm just trying to, again, give you guys a framework for understanding how to ramp up effectively so that you can actually improve your patterns on a daily basis rather than going backwards. Guys, thanks again for watching this video. If you found this helpful, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and reach out to us as well if you have questions about your own specific pitching journey. You can email us at contact@tradeathletics.com. We read and respond to every single email. Look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.